It's your weekly breakaway for fun conversations on pro cycling. Come and join us for another ride in the team bus. I'm Matt Harper, and together with my brother Justin, we'll do deep-ish dives on professional bike races, teams, riders, and all sorts of cycling-related stories. And we might just sprinkle in some other shiny pop cultural objects along the way. So jump in the saddle and tighten up those shoes. The road awaits. Allez! Hello and welcome to the Team Bus. I'm Matt and this is my brother Justin, and today on the bus, after taking in a couple of small one-day races at the start of the week, followed by 3 miserable days with no bike racing whatsoever, the biggest day of the year so far finally has arrived as we alighted upon the white gravel roads of Tuscany for the women's and men's Strade Bianchi. We were surprised to learn just hours before the start that the races were not only going to be shown on HBO Max, but also we got the Eurosport feed with the breakaway. That's right. Orla and the boys were back to host the first truly elite day of racing for the 2026 season, and I, for one, was delighted. My delight faded slightly as coverage began amidst some serious audio issues, but the problem was eradicated pretty quickly, and we got lots of pre-race content with Chenoui, King Kelly, Nathan van Hooijdonk, and of course, the cheeky little Adam Blythe in his loafers and slacks. The racing didn't disappoint, at least on the women's side of the peloton. The men, on the other hand, not so much. But we'll find plenty to discuss as we sift through the gravel of La Tolfe and sip the Prosecco in the Piazza del Campo. And as always, we'll finish out with a gravelly attack on the Monte Santa Maria in the Broom Wagon. Allez! All right, welcome to the show this week, and Justin, I think we've agreed to start with the lesser races at the beginning of the week. I'm speaking, of course, of the Les Samyn races, which we had the Beobank Samyn ladies on the women's side, and we had the Ename Samyn Classic men's on the men's side. They went off in that order. I suggest we take them in that order as well.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, so in the Samyn ladies, we basically, I got a little redemption tour in the end of this for a rider who has been there or thereabouts for the first couple of races this season. When I picked it up, they were in a breakaway group of like 7 to 8 riders, which took it all the way to the finish. I mean, it was pretty much done and dusted for the rest of the peloton from way out with these 7 working in front.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting like I've talked about before, Vebis vibes here, where you've got like a top sprinter somehow making the front group, and then there's like somewhere between like 7 and 11 of them, and they're all working really well together. This happens on the ladies' side all the time, I feel like.
It's very different from the men's, because with the men's, you'll always have that one guy that's just like, sitting on the back and not doing any work at all.
Right. And this group also was just like set up very nicely because you had representation in numbers from 3 different teams. So UAE had 2 with Elena Backstedt and Laura Gillespie. Jayco had 2 in there. I'm trying to remember who they were. And then Uno X had 2 in there, including Virgilia, homegirl that's put in such a good showing in Australia. So yeah, team tactics aplenty within this group, which just made things so much more interesting.
You had Caroline Anderson and Quinty Ton.
Yeah, Quinty Ton
were your Livalula Jayco riders, and you had Camila Asbo and Alessia Vigilia was your 2 Uno X riders, as well as Marte Guzens from AG Insurance and Marte Tryon from Phoenix Premier Tech.
Gotta say, I love the green AG Insurance jersey. Like it looks like a sprint jersey every time I see it, and I'm like, oh no, wait, that's just the
team jersey.
AG Insurance. I'm for it.
Yeah, and then like the thing that I noticed, like probably predominantly out of this group is that Eleanor Backstedt is just putting in the work for Laura Gillespie.
Like, it was so great. Like you could tell she was maxed because she was sliding off of the back of that group at times.
Yes.
And she, by hook or by crook, claws her way back to the front group with like just over a K to go. She sits on the back and grabs a couple of gulps of air, and then I love this. You see her get on the microphone, and she is saying to Gillespie, who's sitting second wheel, being very vigilant, "Okay, baby, I'm coming through. I'm going to give you everything I got, and then you're on your own." And she takes off around the right side. You see her get on the radio again, like as if she's saying, "Here I come, coming now." Like the coordination, the communication is so good, and she pops on the front. And Gillespie, to her credit, I think she kind of. I think it gave her a little comfort level knowing that Backstedt was out front there, but she did not jump on her wheel. She stayed hooked onto the other Uno X rider's wheel, not Virgilia, the other one. And that was far and away the right move to make. Although, honestly, given how many bike lengths she had as she crossed the finish line, she probably could have picked any wheel or just gone out in the wind herself.
What was really interesting, so at 1.6 you had the group, the front grouping was Gillespie, Asbo, Tryon, Goosens, Anderson, and Quinty-Ton. 1.2 Vigilia joins group 1. 800 meters, Backstedt gets back into the front group. I mean, we're less than a kilometer to go, and
I thought she got back on like right before 1 kilometer to go.
No. It was 8. It was I have it noted as 800 meters is where she got on.
I must have been thinking of Virgilia getting back on there as well.
600, Tryon grabbed Gillespie's wheel, and then Backstedt's back in front of Gillespie at 500 meters, which is just, it's nuts.
That was awesome.
The way that it came down
like that. I love a finish like that. Small bunch sprint, group dynamics. It's so awesome. So Laura Gillespie this year, 2 times second in the UAE Tour behind who? Lorena Vivas, of course. She DNF'd Omloop, but then came second in the Omloop Het Hageland, and then finally gets the win here, less than a week later. So good on her. Very happy for Laura Gillespie.
Yeah, and she, she's on one of these super teams with a lot of big big names, and so she does a lot of work for other people, a lot of the time. So it's nice to see her get a win when she doesn't have to be the person that's doing all the work.
Yeah. Agreed. I should mention the other 2 teams with 2 riders in the group did not even manage a podium. Jayco and Uno X did not take the second or third step. I did not make a note of who did. I think the Livalula Jayco, the AG Insurance rider was up there, and I cannot remember who the other one was.
Your second was Goosens from AG, and Marta. It was the 2 Martas, Marta Goosens and Marta Tryon from Phoenix Premier Tech took third.
Right. All right, let's move from there to the Ename Samyn Classic Men's with Wout van Aert in the house and Carlton Kirby and Brian Smith on the call.
Yes. Sorry. Right in this moment, Mom is frantically texting me. I'm trying to figure out what she needs. I apologize. Let me see here. So, oh yeah, I pick it up with 80K to go, and I literally don't know anybody that's in this breakaway that was in the breakaway.
What? Oh, at 80K to go?
Yeah, at 80K to go, you had a 5-man breakaway, and I literally knew not one.
Was your boy Per Strand Hagen not in there yet?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
All right. She can wait. So
yeah, that's I must have picked it up much later. I know that I know that this race almost always comes down to a sprint, so I wasn't like real motivated to take in too much of it. But I know that late in the game, Hagenes
Yeah, so
was get,
at 29K, Perstron went off the front, and at 26K he had 30 seconds. So I mean, he started a huge acceleration. And then a group with Wout launched off the peloton as well. So Visma was trying to neutralize for Perstron. At 20K, he had 20. He was all the way out to 20 seconds, and he kept that all the way into 13K. He had 21 seconds. And then that's when the chase group started trying to form. And I will say is that Wout was helping to really shut the chase down for him, which was big.
until he got his mechanical and the run into the finish.
Yeah, that was at 10K. 10K, he had the mechanical. He grabbed someone else's bike, and it was disaster because he obviously was not comfortable on that bike at all, and got another bike from the team car. But at that point, he was completely out of doing any help or any possibility of contending for the win.
Well, I'd rather it be a mechanical than a crash, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Jordan Vermeersch doing amazing work for Jordi Meus in the final kilometer. Anything to report from the last kilometer?
You had when they were in the last, but when they got to the last cobbled sector, Hagenes still had 5 seconds on everybody, and Hugo Page ended up attacking from the peloton. Hags was inside 1K, and they caught him at like 700 meters, and so I mean at that point it became a normal, bunch sprint. I honestly really thought he was going to stay away, and they just ended up catching him. He just didn't have enough in the tank to get himself, across the line.
Would have been cool. Jordi Meus wins pretty handily, I'd say, over Rex, Hofstetter, Biermans, and Lucas Kubis.
And I mean, out of that grouping, I mean, he was definitely, he was the quality, he was the most quality rider out of that group of guys, and by the time it all came together, it was his race to lose because they had him positioned really well, and he's a solid sprinter. I mean, if he's not up against the big names, I mean, he is just as effective as anybody.
Certainly is. All right, let's move on then to the Trofeo Laigueglia men's.
Ooh, nice pronunciation, dude.
Did you say you
I did watch it. I watched it in obviously I watched it on Tiz. It was in Italian. So I basically, what I did, because I was watching it, post, I pulled up the live off of PCS and was like trying to follow along. I like rolled it back to where I was, and I was trying to parallel the two so I could kind of keep up with it. At 21K, you had a group. You had Kevin Vervaca that was had 34 seconds on the chasers, which were Gregoire, Antonio Taberi, Santiago Buitrago, and Quentin Hermans, which is, by the way, a very quality group of riders.
Yeah.
As far as,
I mean, Roman Gregoire is just impressive as all get out.
His
right
form
now.
has been great the last couple of weeks. I mean, he's
Pretty sure
just been on
pretty
fire.
sure he was fourth in the big race on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That we're going to be discussing. Yeah, he's already got a win this season as well, I believe. He's lighting it up.
Yeah, so about 3K later, Vervaca got caught by the chasers. So now that group, so you have Buitrago, Taberi, Gregoire, Vervaca now leading the race. Buitrago took some KOM points, and then let's see, what does this say? You had 2 riders in 35 seconds, on the peloton. Bahrain was looking for a win, but Gregoire is really, his form is really, really on. So those guys, it is pretty much who it ends up coming down to. You have, what I said, like I said,
Betrago and Tadej are teammates.
Correct.
on Bahrain victorious. So Tadej has already demonstrated his form in UAE or 2 weeks ago, I guess, when he won a stage at UAE. So he is sitting good, and these kinds of finishes, Betrago is just like so dangerous when it's like a reduced group like this on a climby finish. I felt like Alessandro Covi from Jayco had gotten into the mix as well. And then basically Tadej sets up Buitrago for the attack, and Gregoire tries to hang on, but it was not happening.
Yeah, so 11K to go. They start the final climb of the Col de Machiri, and this thing is brutal. It's an average of 8.4 with a max of 14%. Yeah, it's nuts. And literally a half a kilometer into that climb, the front group started breaking up. Buitrago was dropping Gregoire and Tadej. 10K to go. Buitrago was solo off the front. 7K, he had 13 seconds on the chasers, and 34 seconds on the peloton on the Gruppo. 4K to go. He had 16 seconds on the chasers and 41 on the Gruppo, and then you got that beautiful waterfront finish.
Oh my God, it's so gorgeous.
Dude,
absolutely gorgeous.
You
that must be so fun when you're a rider and you're all by yourself and you get to enjoy a ride in like that, knowing like these fools ain't gonna catch me. I got this thing locked up. Oh
and it's like, I love those coast road shots when they've got the coast on the right, and they're coming at the rider from the left, so you get that sweet, just like ocean view as they ride down those like long straights along the ocean. Super, super beautiful run in, and yes, he takes the win all by himself. Gregoire takes second. Tadej takes third.
Well, Tadej, made the catch on Gregoire with like over around 7 kilometers to go, and literally sat on the poor man's wheel the entire way in. And I am going to hand it to Roman Gregoire. He did not let Tadej take the second step of that podium from him. He beat him by like 2 inches on the line. They sprinted it out, and I was so glad for Gregoire. I mentioned him just a second ago. He podiumed a stage of Andalusia and was 5th on GC. And then, yes, he won the Fondrome Classic, the second of the 2 Fonds. Then he was second in this race, and then he was 4th over the weekend. So very, very strong out of this guy. He's on form, to be sure.
For sure. It's a 1-3 for Bahrain, and those are much needed early season wins for a team.
Take a guess who had a 4-6 on this race. Take a wild guess. What team managed 4th? No, come on.
A 4 and a 6. Oh, Vesma?
Astana.
Oh, yeah. Just top 10s. They just
the guys,
top 10s.
Ulisi and Scaroni just sneaking in there.
Scaroni.
4th and 6th.
Scaroni's always in the mix.
Just doing their thing. I just love it. I love it. Let's do this. Did you watch the first stage of Paris-Nice? Yeah.
Yes, I did. I didn't take any notes, but I did watch it.
Did you catch up with the women's Trofeo, Oro, and Euro?
No, I did not.
Okay, let me briefly run over Oro and Euro.
Yeah.
Wait, I can't find my Paris-Nice notes. Oh yeah, I can. And then we'll talk about the Paris-Nice. So Trofeo, Oro, and Euro is just like a lesser Italian one-day race that follows on the heels of Strade Bianchi. And my girl Eliza Longo Borghini's got 3 teammates with her with 15 kilometers to go, and poor Puck Peterson is trying to hang on with 4 UAE riders, including the Italian Tricolor. Um,
Jesus.
ELB puts in a withering attack on the final climb after being set up 1, 2, 3 by her teammates, and Puck has no answer. Game over. I wanted to just make a point here, okay? And I guess this is kind of, you know what? I'm going to save this point for our discussion at the end of women's Strade Bianchi, actually.
Okay.
So just let me put a pin in that for the second. But I've made an interesting observation as pertains to our favorite lady, Eliza Longo Borghini. So I'll save that. Let's get into into stage one of Paris Nice, which delighted me, to be
Dude,
sure.
big time, big time, big
Even
time.
though I wasn't thinking about it as it was happening, but then when I realized, oh yeah, no, I was quite happy. I was certainly kind of rooting for somebody else, but I have to note right up front what is going on with this broadcast. Like they're showing Bob and Christian like in their homes. Like I feel like normally these things, like if it's them remotely, they don't you don't see them, you just hear their voices, you know what I
Correct.
mean? And
Does
so if they're going to
I
show them, you'd think they would have them in a studio or something like
and
that. I mean, this
I
is
don't
NBC.
remember because I was trying to watch this in the midst of a lot of chaos in my home yesterday. Um, does Bob still look like
Santa Claus.
well unkempt Santa Claus?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bob is just like he looks like a Grateful Dead fan or something. Like, and Christian's kicked back in his like his sweet like modern looking spot or whatever, but it's just strange. And like the sound was like they were not getting the audio from the race for a while in that thing, so it was just like Bob and Christian just like talking over dead silence. Just like how do these companies keep blowing this? It's mind-boggling.
Well, it's just
But
what's mind-boggling is that you have there's such a disparity between these two situations where you have sometimes it's utterly amazing. You can't you can't get any better with the coverage of it, and then sometimes it's just a complete and utter joke, and it's no rhyme or reason because this is an ASO race. So that means that you've got TNT's covering it for Europe, NBC's covering it for the States, and it's like when you side by side that with this weekend's Strade Bianchi coverage, it's not even close. Other than the obvious like sound issues that they had, which seemed to be probably something I don't think that they realized they were having. They're making a choice to show Bob and Christian in their home. Like they don't have to do that. Like that's a choice they're making. So when they make completely ridiculous choices is where I go like what like who's in charge of this? Who's looking at this going, yeah, we should definitely cut to Bob and Christian on their PC, on their laptop cameras. We're not even going to put a decent camera and like make sure that they have like a nice home studio setup that we can show you. We're just like literally showing Bob sitting in his office with a coffee, with his coffee,
it
and
was it was just kind of strange. I mean, they must have some kind of specialized feed that they are getting, because I know that they get like additional
Mhm.
information. They know when an interview spot is coming up, they're being cued to announce like, hey, let's go and talk to Matteo Jorgensen, like
they have to
um
have some sort of producer. They have
yeah,
to.
no, there's got to be some kind of specialty set up. I would think that, they the NBC would send out a camera guy to their place, but I mean, I don't know. It seemed pretty lo-fi here. I just thought that's a strange choice to make. I don't care. Like, Bob Roll can look however he wants to look. They can choose to give those images, but it just sort of like, I don't know, it takes a little bit of the polish off of it for me. Doesn't seem, you know what I mean? I feel like it should be, I feel like any ASO via NBC cycling content should be coming to me looking uniform. Like the, Paris Roubaix and Paris Nice should look just as good as the Tour de France package.
Well, and here's the thing: is if you you know, it's like I understand them not being there for Paris-Nice as opposed to being there for Tour de France. Like I get that. That makes all the sense in the world. It doesn't, you know, it's like, you know, sending these guys to Europe for a 5-day stage race doesn't make a lot of sense when it's, you know, it's not like a huge ratings thing.
Right.
So I get those decisions, but you're
So do it the way
absolutely
they do the lesser races, you know. Don't show them sitting in their house in a you know quarter zip. Like just put their names up there, have them
right,
give
right,
the
right.
intro, you know.
Well,
Like
and here's the thing: is like for me, it's almost like the sense I get from it, and I've had this for a while with anything that's not the only exceptions that I will make for this is when they do Paris-Roubaix in Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Okay, for whatever reason, the coverage on those is definitely much better. But other than the Tour de France and the Vuelta, all right, they, you know, at least NBC does not do a good job covering any of these other races outside of the Tour Down Under, but I don't really think they had anything to do with the Tour Down Under.
yeah, the Tour Down Under,
They're just
you know,
grabbing the feed, yes.
they're just paying for a feed. So, well, we don't need to belabor it anymore, but I'd say from the outset, this race in terms of our fantasy contest is looking much better for you since you've got, you know, some of your top picks in there and Jonas Vingegaard and Juana Yuso, while I have nobody. I'm maybe a little more stacked in Terreno with Del Toro and Vanderpool, but you've got three guys in there with Milan, Banier, and somebody else. Didn't you have somebody else in there as well?
Yes, I do. Who is it? Sorry.
Dali.
No, I don't
You
have
have Dali?
Dilly would not be on the thing now. So I've got oh, I don't have this is this week. I don't have my I'd have to
Oh
go.
no, you just have Milan and Manier.
Yeah.
So I don't know how sprinty it is, but I would say I have a little bit of an edge on you there, but I have nobody in Perry
Yeah, but
in
you could easily
Paris.
come out of the week with a jersey with Del Toro. So,
True that. True that. Um,
you know, if you pick up a stage win in a jersey, you're looking at, you know, 31 points off of just that.
true. True. All right, let's not belabor the breakaway action too much. There was a group of four or five Durbridge, Gamper from Jayco, plus like Casper Pedersen from Soudal Quick Step, Max Walker from EF, a couple other guys, and Pedersen basically wins the KOM contest. A little bit of work from Ewan Costu, who's another one of those up and coming French guys trying to get away on the final climb. But I would say mainly on the back of the work from Visma Lab, the Peloton keeps the breakaway at bay and catches them with like 2 kilometers to go. We're looking at a sprint finish in this race. Anything from earlier, notably, that you want to point out?
No.
Visma Lab was kind of had twin purposes here. Obviously, they're looking to get a big win for Jonas Vingegaard at the end of the week, but they do have Axel Zingle in there with a good opportunity in the sprint, given the thinness of the field. Your biggest contender, I would say, would be Biniam here. He's already won twice this year.
Yeah, I mean, the three riders that I had marked out for this were, you know, Milan Frenton, Girmay, and Plowright. I thought that they had the best, you know, odds as far as the group of riders that we have.
Yeah, and Case Bowl was here, and he's been on kind of rejuvenated form this year as well. It seems strange to even have these words coming out of my mouth. I still can't get used to it. But of course, Biniam was there with the really good lead out train.
It's crazy.
Biniam's finally got a lead out. Yeah, so you want to walk us through this sprint?
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. You know what? I forget. I don't have really any notes on this one.
Well, then I can pick it up. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
basically, Case Bowl launches early. Plowright, Zingle, and Ferton were all in the mix as well, alongside Luke Lamperti from EF Education Easy Post. And Lamperti, I think what happened here is Biniam blew it, because Luke Lamperti wins this race with Biniam right on his shoulder, and Biniam had been on his wheel for like the last 500 meters of this race, and he had a big opportunity to swing off his wheel left and follow one, I want to say plow right. And he did not. He stayed on Lamperti's wheel, and he kind of was hanging to the right side, hoping to sneak past him on the barrier. And Lamperti, to his credit, just stayed about a foot away from the barrier the entire time through that sprint, making it impossible for Biniam to come around. At one point, Biniam had to stop pedaling, and like when you're in sniffing distance of the finish line, you got to stop pedaling because you get hung up on the barrier, like you're done. And try as he might, he could not catch him. And I don't even think he got. I think he ended up in fifth or something like that.
Yeah, he ended up in fifth. You had Lamperti takes the win. You had Vito Bret from Lotto Intermarché take the second place, and Orluis Aular. I'm terrible with the Spanish names. From Movistar took third, with Milan Frentin in fourth and Plowright in sixth.
Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting to see Marijn Vandenberg leading out Luke Lamperti. I thought it would be the other way around. I thought Vandenberg was like their best sprinter. So I love this. I mean, American boy,
of course,
the American team.
Yeah,
we should point out this was their first win of the year. They snatched victory from the jaws of defeat here, because there's only one other team that hasn't won yet this year, and that is Picnic Post NL, still winless in 2026.
Which is ironic, because they came out of last season like with only was doing very well. I'm surprised they have not picked up a win. Did you see who came in seventh?
No.
Mike Tunison, another Astana top 10.
Top 10. Yeah, you get a top 10 in every race, at least. Minimum one top 10 every race, every stage, everything. So love to see an American boy pulling on a leader's jersey, a yellow jersey, nonetheless. Very, very cool. This makes me very happy, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the week.
Yeah. This is always one of those races that's really fun to watch. It's climby. It's got all the. It's a mini Tour de France. It's you got some good climbs. You typically have some good drama in it, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. And hopefully Jonas can. He is the odds-on favorite for this race. So
for sure. Well, I don't want to wish him ill, but all the success that he has just brings us closer together in this fantasy contest. Is this going to ruin our camaraderie that we've, the one of the things we love about cycling is that you can kind of root for everybody, but now it's like I have a definite rooting interest in it, rooting against interest in certain races and certain situations. So
all right, but hold on, we can discuss more of that when we get into Strade Bianchi, because it definitely comes into play for both of us on both sides too.
Big time. We will. Yes, we'll get into that and lots more. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Don't miss Beyond the Slipstream, our weekly companion podcast to the Team Bus, our domestique, if you will, dropping every Saturday in your usual podcast feed.
All right, we are back, and I think that in the interest of saving the best for last, we should start with the men's race.
I am
good.
So fine with that.
Okay, well, I did not watch this live, and I will be perfectly honest with you. On my first pass, I basically fast forwarded through almost all of this race. Basically once the big move had been made, at like 82 kilometers to go or something like that. But I went back, I watched a recap, a couple of recaps, and some supplementary material. So I'm prepared to talk about it. I have things to talk about, and I did want to make one note that I thought it was cool when they lined up for the start of the race. They chose to put all the national champions jerseys up in the front alongside Pogačar in the world champions jersey. So you got a little Quinn Simmons up there, you got Concha of Italy up there, and you got Del Toro of Mexico all in the front.
That's cool. I did not see that.
Yeah, very, very cool. But there's not a whole lot of cool. There's some cool things to look at in this race. I mean, you know. Yeah, so we got the classic long range attack from Tadej Pogačar at 82 kilometers to go. What do you got? Do you have anything? I mean,
all right. So yes, that, I mean, you do have that, but I feel like what we saw in this particular race is something that we haven't seen, you know, with Pogačar, which is that, you know, and obviously they know where to go. They know when to launch. Like, because it's basically the same place that he launched.
they UAE, you mean?
Yes, you know,
Right.
they know where to put him off, and you can't take away the credit of the work that the team was doing, you know, prior to his launch. However, after he does get to the front of the race, and then all of a sudden when he starts to pull away, we have never seen someone catch him after he goes.
Yeah.
All right. And, you know, Paul Seychelles, for all, you know, all that it did, which was amounted to nothing, he did catch him. All right. After he went.
He was 2 lengths back. He got to within 2 lengths of Pogačar.
And that is the closest we've seen
Shortly
anybody
after he went.
to holding his wheel after he decides to go that we've ever seen in one of these, you know, big long one-day races. So
And that's like the big B story of this race, and it really is the A story when it comes to interest in this race.
Correct.
The B story is much bigger than the A story. Paul Seychelles,
yes. So
unfortunately not on my squad. If only one of my men's racers were injured right now, Paul Seychelles would have been getting me points in this race. But
now,
I'm getting ahead of ourselves.
once that, you know, happens, and he kind of falls back into the two-man chase with Del Toro. You know, the two of them are essentially off doing their thing until you know, you could see that you know, they got on the radios and were like, you guys need to slow up and just wait for this group to catch up behind, because I think my assumption is that by, you know, whenever that happened, I think it was like around 70K or mid 60s. Those teams are telling you, look, there's no chance you're catching him. Like, he's off and gone. So really, it's the fight for second place. Better to conserve your energy rather than end up letting them catch you deep into the race and then you don't get the podium. So the smart move for Seychelles is to get with the group. The smart move for Del Toro is that he can now help manage that group, you know, moving forward and try to position himself for a podium spot. And, you know, he was in a group with, you know, quality riders, and you know, Jorgensen was in there. I'm trying to think who else was in that big second group. I think Pidcock was in that second group.
Pidcock, you had Seychelles had some good team support in this thing. Labrosse and Lapera, which bodes really well. Labrosse, I should remind you, was the one that was putting the hurt on the bunch at the Fawn Ardèche, setting up for Seychelles. So, and speaking of good teammates who have already, you know, proven their abilities this season already, who were the 2 guys that were bossing it for Pogačar, you know, before he makes his attack? Isaac Del Toro and Jan Christian, the 2 guys that have just been lighting up the entire season so far for that team. I mean, really, really impressive that they've got these weapons that can be out there just like crushing on their own. And then when the really big race comes up and the you know, the greatest of all time needs a little assistance, those 2 guys are just like happy to help, sir.
Yep. Now, what can be said about the Pogačar of it all is, he's now done something that nobody else has done. All right. He has won, not only has he won 4, and he's the only rider to do that, he's the only rider to ever win 3 in a row.
Yeah. And if it weren't for poor Tom Pidcock, who had just the most difficult day out there this year, Pogačar probably would have 5 in a row. Or maybe, I don't know. Did he even race on 2023 when Pidcock won? I can't remember.
I can't remember. Well, and poor Pidcock's literally plagued by mechanicals all day. Like, you know what I mean? He had 2 points in that very critical gravel sector where his chain came off. I mean, you can't, those are not things that you can predict. You know what I mean? And it created, an unneeded difficulty for him when at the very most critical moment where you can't, because that gravel sector also favors Pidcock's style of riding. So, the fact that he wasn't able to even be a factor at that point really was where it took him out of the race. Those 2 mechanicals at a critical moment are just, terrible bad luck in a way that you can't even imagine. I mean, I
felt real sorry for him in the post race. He was quite distraught. He was super frustrated, as you can tell, and like looked to have shed a couple of tears. Tough race for him. It was interesting, the sort of the difference between him and another person in the women's race who had difficulty with mechanicals, but I'll get into that when we get there. Back to the Pogačar of everything. What were you gonna get into?
I mean, the fact of the matter is that he is a singularly great rider. All right, and we are watching the things that people will talk about for the next, 50 years of riding. And while it may be boring for us in the moment because it's like, oh, here we go again, another 80K, Strade Bianchi that, he's going to, just handily win. It's not, we can take comfort in the fact that it's not going to be like that forever. There's going to be, and within the next few years, there will, his dominance will wane. Other people will get better. And, the competition level will, come back to some sort of parity like it is in the women's. And we'll get that. But right now, we are seeing, the Tiger Woods in his prime, type of, athlete. And you have to take your hat off to him because you just can't watch this guy and not be like, damn, like he is so good. And I will say, it doesn't hurt the crowds. I feel like the crowds are getting bigger and bigger every year that he wins this thing. Like, and, there's like these crazy, like you see these crazy effigies that they make for him out on the side. They've got the amazing signs. They've got all these different, like.
Well, let's talk about those. Did you see what I had in my show notes?
No, I didn't.
Take a peek at my notes. I saw this actually twice out on the course and I adored this. I would love to get an actual like physical copy of this.
Tell me it's the prayer card. Is it the prayer card?
Yes. San Pogačar, pedala per noi.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible.
The prayer card is amazing. Yes.
A couple of notes that I had on Pogačar. How about when he went past the curve where he wiped out last year and you saw him like give a little look back to the camera and then he does like a little calm down like kind of thing. I love that he was able to like acknowledge that spot, knew exactly where it was, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, I've saw many images from last year while watching this year and various coverage of him
when he overcooked that turn.
Yeah, with his like left pant leg like all rolled up and just looking. He was just like looking rough. He was looking so rough in that crash, and yet comes back to just completely decimate once again. The other great image that I loved outside of just like the packed in crowds on La Tolfe and Colle Pinzuto. We got one of the classic. I feel like in Italy, for some reason, in Italy, it's like where we get the best ones of these, which is the the rider solo going down like a like a ridge, helicopter beside, but like even, not looking down, just like looking at it from dead from the side, and you just get an empty screen with nothing but Tadej Pogačar on his white bike in his white suit with his rainbow stripes, just like all by himself. Just amazing. Like at the start of the shot, it's at 56.3 if anybody wants to go back and check it out. At the start of the shot, you see the camera bike in the frame with him, but then he moves forward and the camera bike disappears from the shot, and it's just like chef's kiss.
Yeah, and
So
on those Tuscan roads, it's just you can't beat it. Um, you also just and one of the things that I absolutely love about this race is that final kilometer. The final
it's
kilometer
incredible. It's so incredible.
might be my favorite final kilometer in any race. It's still like I will be more entertained by this than any time they end on the Champs Elysees and the Tour de France. Ending in Rome, I will always be enamored with this end when they go through that gate and it all just, it all, it's what it comes down to. Now, sadly, when Pogačar's out there by himself by 2 minutes, it doesn't really matter. But
Well, here's the beauty of it. Oh, go ahead. Go
well,
ahead.
I was going to say when they come into that final finish and they come out of the buildings into the piazza. It's just like like I get choked up just thinking about it right now
Same.
because it's just
I do the whole climb. I mean, the entire thing. It's like they're coming into it. They're on the at first the roads. It's a bigger road that's leading into it, and there's crowds there, but they're like there's space between the people as these come in, and then they get to a certain part, and like the crowds start. And then by the time you go under the arch, the ancient arch that's like at the very, very bottom.
yes,
You go through that, and like once you're
it's
through
like
that, the
800
crowds are there.
meters away from the end. Yeah,
The crowds are there, and you have a section where it's crowds but no barriers, and then you get out of there. And I don't know if you caught it. Did you notice he gave a guy a high five as he's getting to the to where the barriers start?
no, I guess I didn't notice that, but there was a great and I didn't send this one to you. I don't know why. There was a great reel that I saw on Instagram where he high fived the same guy
Stop!
4 times.
Stop!
Okay.
Stop!
Stop. Sorry. Sorry.
Damn you! Damn you! Anyways, the whole climb up through there, the crowds. That's where I saw the second instance of the San Pogačar Padala Per Noir card. One of the people in the crowd. So it's like when the barriers start, it's that's when it starts uphill proper,
Yes.
and it makes a
have the
curved left
chicane.
and then a curved right. And once you make that right curve, it's where the buildings tighten in and it really gets steep. That's where the steep section starts. And like if you notice in the helicopter shots, those normally like there's no sidewalk on the side on the right hand side as you're going up. Those buildings are like right there on the road, and they've got it barriered off. But if you look, it's only like one person deep along there. Like it's a tight little thing on the right hand side. On the left hand side, looks like there's room for 4 or 5 people. Looks like there's a sidewalk on that side. But really wild. And what I love about this is when the race is on, when there's a bunch of people going through there, it makes for such an exciting race. It's like it's insane. But when a guy is by himself, it's just got majesty. You know what I mean? It is triumphant. Like there's something about like those buildings and just people everywhere. And like you said, when they get up to the Piazza del Campo, it's like they come out from the buildings and they'll give you that wide shot, from across the thing where you can see them and the crowd swelling around them. It's just spectacular.
And you have that little dip down,
Yep.
in that little curve, and it's so iconic, and it feels, it's just, I don't know, there's just such a feeling on this race. every time that I watch it, where I'm just so enamored with that finish. It brought me back to Wout winning that stage in the Giro that finished there, and it's such an iconic spot, man. Like you cannot. I don't know that there's anything that's any finish in the sport that I think is better than that. I mean, it's so good.
I feel like Pidcock like had tears streaming down his face when he won there, and of course, I'll never forget. Was it Vollering v Kopecky there one year, like where they were on the same when they were on the same team and they were sprinting it out against each other.
Yes.
I think that was absolutely insane. That finish. No, it's an iconic spot for sure.
Now,
I wanted to.
Here's my question to you. Now that he's won the 4 in a row, he's done something that nobody's done. Does he not make this his first race so that and assuming he does not win MSR, all right, does he make MSR?
Why are we assuming that?
I'm saying because he hasn't been able to get it under his belt yet. So, but if he doesn't win MSR again, does he put all the focus next year into MSR and not even bother coming to this race next year?
It is a good question. There's one school of thought that would say, no, he comes here and does this because, Strade, he can win this thing with ease, basically. Like, it's not the reason not to do it, I don't think would have anything to do with form and would have everything to do with like the possibility of crashing and getting an injury and not being able to be at MSR. But then you can argue right back against that because like every time he wins this thing, he's by himself out in front with no chance of like, sure, he has a chance of crashing, but he gets a big enough lead and can maintain a fast enough speed that he doesn't really have to put himself in danger for the last 81 kilometers of the race. You know what I mean? Why not make it 5? Why not make it 6? It seems like he's having fun out there.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true.
And it's one of the most iconic moments of the year every time he does it, like we just talked about.
I think that there's a part of me that just hopes that we get a little bit more of what happens in the women's race next year. But again, at some point it has to slow down. It has to come to some sort of end. So, maybe we're just holding our breath until then.
Well, funny you say that because one of my notes in here, in my women's race notes, which chronologically the women's race went first and then the men's. I had a note halfway down the page. This is easily the best race of the year so far. Please let the men's be this good with like an entire line of fingers crossed emojis. It was not to be, as we just discussed, but there's always something to talk about with that race. It's great. It's one of the, for the purposes of our contest, we're calling it a monument.
Yes.
So, the powers that be do not have it listed as monument yet, but we sure do.
I don't understand how at this point, considering how big that race is, that they don't just go ahead and just call it a monument because my God, it's so iconic.
That is for sure. So, all right, well, let's get on to the women's race. Where, as I mentioned in the intro, so psyched for the breakaway. I couldn't believe it. I put it on, and then I'm like, wait a second, why can't I hear anything? Oh, no. What? Well, really?
This happened in the men's race, too. It's 9 minutes before the sound comes on in the men's race.
Unreal. So that was just not cool. I mean, in the end, like, it was fine. It didn't hurt anything, but the anxiety of thinking, oh, God, is it going to be like this for the whole thing? Like, am I going to have to wait here? Like, that feeling was not good. But
now, and I will say that I do have one kind of gripe about the coverage with the breakaway, in which I don't very often get have issues with the breakaway. I think that it detracts from how great the women's racing is when they are during the women's race broadcast and run up that they're showing the interviews from the men. And
It's weird. I think if you were over there, like if you're in Britain and you're watching all of this stuff live, it's race morning.
right,
It
I get
makes
it.
a little bit more sense. They could edit it better for the replay so that like the women's stuff just contains women's stuff and the men's just men's. I
But
don't know. It didn't.
they
I take your
have
point. It didn't take me out of
but
it
they
very
have
much.
another breakaway for the men. Like
Yeah,
they do it a second time. So like
I know. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that like
but
it
it
doesn't.
goes into the greater, to me it goes into the greater misogyny of sports in general, that like, people, it's like, well, we have to talk about the men because that's what the people are really interested in. And it's like, well, I don't know.
I don't think that really plays a factor into that particular decision. I'm not saying it's not there. It definitely is. But hey, compare the women's Strade Bianchi coverage to the men's day one Paris Nice coverage. Okay,
Yeah,
compare those two because like what I loved, you had Danny Rowe and Manna Lloyd out there on the gravel roads. The shot where they bend down, like they squat down, and like
yes,
the camera moves down so that you can actually like see the gravel right there, and they're like picking up the ground. I'm like, this is good stuff, and like
yes.
having them there at the finish for their reactions, where they were both just like so exhilarated. I mean, uh, uh,
Well, and
Danny
I
Rowe was
love
just
that
like on a
immediate. I
cloud.
love that immediate interview, like in the paddock at the end. Like I am all for that all the time.
Yeah.
Um, they did an interview with Puck Peterson at the end, and I was just like, man, like what a great like interview that I don't know, man. They do a very very good job of coverage for these races. I mean, on both sides of the coin, they really do a great job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, absolutely was just psyched to have really good production
Mm-hmm.
going into the big first big race of the year. So, you got Alice Wood and Marty McDonald on the call, and when they come just before they start the live broadcast, they give us this highlight reel of crashes that have happened earlier in the day. Vonnebregen goes down. Cassia takes a tumble. It looks like Amanda Spratt goes down. There's another rider from one of the lower end teams, like green and orange teams. She went down hard. Kim LaCourte Pinar went down. Like bunch of crashes in the beginning of this thing, and I'm like, oh wow, like what are we in for? We pick it up with 66.7 kilometers to go, and there's a big group out front, and every single hitter is in there. And I was
Yes.
just like, bring it on. When they come on to the live shots, you have got Demi Vollering, Cassia Newadoma, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, Mariana Voss, Liza Longo Borghini, Leon Lippert, Lucinda Brand, Puck Peterson, Naomi Rugg, Magdalena Valieres in a World Champions jersey, and Lotto Kopecky. And
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 Shabby.
FDJ, yeah, and Lali Chabet, and FDJ is looking so strong with four teammates for Demi Vollering. Four
Mm-hmm.
teammates and Demi Vollering. I'm like, holy crap, this is going to be nuts. And what is that I just noticed? Cassia is wearing number 31, my favorite number. Kim LaCour Pinar is like her and Anna von der Breggen are the only two big names that did not make that front group.
Right.
So what a setup. What an absolute setup.
And
Um,
it so and no great race would be complete without a bit of chaos. And what ends up happening? we
well, was there a breakaway? I feel like there was a breakaway
there
in
was like a
front
split.
of, yeah, there was some kind of split where
A camera
I
bike
think,
got in between the two of them.
yeah, but who's in the front and who is in the back? I know that like
Ferran Prévot,
well,
Kopecky.
Ferrand Prévot had fallen off. She had a mechanical and lost
Right.
a ton of time, and it was like everybody was saying race over for her because she sat there waiting for her team car. It's Strade Bianchi, like it's not as quick and easy to get the team car there as normally, and she waited a long time. So all of a sudden we see her just get back onto the chasing group, which had Demi Vollering and Lotte Kopecky in it, and I'm trying to remember. Voss had made the front.
Yes.
Um,
Shabé made the front.
Longo Borghini had made the front.
Lamborghini made the front, correct.
And there was Valieres had made the front.
Valieres was up there, correct.
And but there was a group behind. Now that group behind, it looked like they're going to get back on. That's Demi.
100%.
It's gonna come back together, for God's sake.
Because the split wasn't. Split wasn't huge.
Cassia was in the front.
Yes,
yeah,
Cassia
was in the front as well. Yeah, and so it's I can't remember exactly what the mile marker was when this happened, but what we were.
I feel like it was in the 30s.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So there's a motorbike that the second group is behind. Now, what I heard in the aftermath was that it was not a camera bike. It was like a police escort bike.
Oh.
And I don't know if the escort bike just made the wrong turn or what, but definitely that turn was not like roped off. There should have been like a ribbon, a little thin thing like hanging across that area right there on a corner like that, because basically the road that they were on bent to the left.
Yes. And
the road that they went down was like going dead straight basically, yes. But the actual road is making a left, but nothing's marked. And it's like white gravel here, white gravel there. And, the motorcycle goes down that way. And I mean, you're talking about like hundredths of a second. Like these riders are going right down right down behind the motorcycle. Now, all the commentators are sitting there going to tell you, well, technically speaking, the riders are responsible for knowing the course. Like Natten van Hooijdonk said he always had the map up on his head unit. That was his thing. Like some riders like to have other information on the head unit. He said he always had the map on his head unit because he worried about things like that. But a group of like 12 riders follow this motorcycle down the wrong road, and they're gone for a while. They're riding for a good 15 seconds before like it's finally whoa.
Yeah, before people started going like, making the hand motions and shit. Yes.
Yeah, which also probably didn't help matters, the confusion, because like they're going down there and they're seeing people on the sides. Like, okay, we must be on the right path because there's people. But did you notice how bad that road was though? Like that road was
junk.
Nasty.
Yeah, it was junk.
Yeah, it was total junk. And it's just like, and now Demi Vollering, the out and out favorite, is like down this road, like way down. She was in the front too. She's just like one of the last.
You had Kopecky, her, Prevost, all. All
Ferran Prevost had just gotten back on, and like I would say by the time that they even got back onto the right road, the announcers were like, "That race over. They're not getting back."
I think they were 32
minutes.
That was like I was going to say
they were like 2
minutes down. I mean, it was.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
I mean, they were gone.
So fortunately, there were still a number of hitters left out in the front because we've got Longo Borghini, Cassia Niewiadoma, Marianne Vos, Valieres, Noemi Rugg, and Puck Pieterse, all in with a chance to win. Every one of those riders I just named could win on this race. I mean, you look at every single one of those names. The only one I might rule out would be Marianne Vos, just because of the climb.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like Chabe, Longo Borghini.
You got a lot of fan favorites in there too, because Pieterse, Chabe, Longo Borghini, they like people love them now.
Valieres, who won on a finish just like this, like, you know what I mean?
What's really cool about now, like, because my assumption is as soon as they realized that Demi was out, that they were on the radio with Chabe going like, "You're not pacing this front group. It's you're working for you now," and she, to her credit, in my opinion, we'll get to it here in a minute. I'm not going to go. I don't want to spoil it. Did such a damn good job of marking everybody out and how she played it, especially in the last kilometer. This is a quality group of riders, and you've got Niewiadoma in there that's what, come in second 2 or 3 times at this point.
Yeah, I mean, a week ago she's right there with Demi Vollering.
And she was hanging with Demi a week ago. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, you've got a group of hitters, that you've got to contest with, and now they've taken your chain off. You know what I mean? You are now ready to. You can do whatever you got to do to win.
Well,
And
and she's wily. She's wily about it,
yes,
because like even in the absence of Damie, where she has now become the hope for that team, nobody is still going to give her, you know, a chance for top three. Like if somebody said, okay, right now, pick the top three, like she's not going to be in there, I don't think, for most
I
people.
mean, I would
And I
have
think I think she
absolutely said
uses that
Longa
back to
Borghini.
her
I thought it was. I
advantage.
honestly thought out of that group that it was Longa Borghini's race to lose.
Yeah, I did too. It's really it's just I'm going to make my point about her later, but it's just kind of fascinating how things played out here. But
All right, well,
credit
catch
to
us up after the screw up with the
yeah.
wrong
So
road.
we've got you get a little breakaway with Longa Borghini and Chabe. It's like one of mine, one of yours. But who reels him back in? But Cassia Newadoma, super strong again. Then there's another little breakaway, and you got Cassia out in front with Longa Borghini. You got the two national champions jerseys. Last week it was the national champions and the European champions jersey out in front. Um, Cassia is just so strong all the time. She's just always in the mix. I mean, that's why you got to love her, because it's like she has such a hard time closing the deal. But damned if she doesn't try for it every freaking time she gets on the bike. And let's remind ourselves, she's a former gravel world championship. The
Hmm.
woman knows how to ride on the gravel
Oh
and
yeah.
has done very well at this race in the past. Um, Pock Petersa is looking super strong. She kind of was dangling off the back and then gets back on, and then boom, she goes straight through. She's trying to keep the move going. And now Valieres and Chabe have kind of been dropped with like 10 kilometers to go. They're trailing by like 12 seconds. And it was just like the attacking was just off the charts. Cassia, the killer, I have in the notes, just
Yeah, it
going
was
for
just
it. Oh, it was
straight
so
back
good.
and forth the whole way in.
They're showing you these replays. You got Cassia and Longa Borghini, and Cassia has just got that gritted teeth look on her face, like they're showing the slow mo replays. I'm thinking like it's the podium with 10 kilometers to go. You've got Cassia, ELB, and Petersa out front, and I'm like, oh, this is it. That's your podium right there. They're not getting back on. Boy, was I wrong.
No, because that chasing group ends up just roaring back,
Yeah,
and
like Voss
yeah,
and
you
Coke.
had
Coke
Voss
was the
and
yeah, Coke was the
Francie Coke.
remaining yeah, she was the remaining FDJ United rider that got back in to help Elise Chabe. They bridge up. So now Chabe's got a teammate. You got Valieres there. They're 19 seconds back. Uh, if the leaders want to stay away, this is the time where they got to start working together, period. That
Well,
does not happen.
no, so they end up, more or less going into the final kilometer as that.
Well, hold on. You're too
Sorry,
far
go
ahead.
ahead.
Too far ahead. On the final Santa Catarina climb, Cassia and ELB drop Puck Petersa. So it's looking like they're trying to, which would make sense. I mean, this is how both of those. Well, this is how ELB wins races. Is like she gets ahead with 12 Ks to go and keeps everybody
Buries you
behind
on a
her.
climb. Yeah.
And as we see, Cassia is always up for that, for a two-woman break, fight it out at the finish kind of thing. Cassia is always up for it. So it makes sense that they would drop Puck there. But um, there's they kind of stay together. And I think it was on that climb. ELB touched Peters's wheel. Did you catch that? She was like making a move, trying to come around her on the
Oh
right, but
yeah,
she was a
yeah,
little
yeah,
too
yeah,
close, and she
yeah.
touched her wheel, and I think she had to take her foot out. But in an instant, they went from like 12 seconds to like 5 seconds with that little like slowdown or whatever, and boom, 6 kilometers ago, it all comes back together. I'm just like, this is insane. I made a note that at this point, Justin's in the driver's seat with Chabe and Coke out there. She's got a teammate. Oh, and then this is when we start to see the reemergence of Monica Trinka Colonel for Live
Livalula
Alula
Jacob.
Jacob.
Yeah.
She starts coming back in, and things are like coming back together. At like 5 Ks to go, your leaders are now Longa Borghini, Chabe, Coke, Puck Peters is there, Voss, Cassia, and Valiere. It's just like, all the names right there. And I have to say, like Valieres, I'm so thrilled that she is mixing it up in all these races. I mean, we have been talking about her all season long. I absolutely love that. She's doing such respect for the rainbow jersey. I know she's going to get a win. But I got a note for her. Girl, you got to get off the front of the race. Like, you're a little too eager. She's got Cassia vibes. She's always out there like pulling.
She's treating herself like a domestique when she
Yeah,
should
exactly.
not be.
Exactly. It's like, babe, Naomi Rugg is gone. All right, she's not here. Get on the back. Let some of these other ladies do the work. But
Yeah.
God love her. She'll learn. She's young and she's really, making a great effort in doing that jersey respect. Trinka Colonel gets back on with like 5Ks to go and goes straight back over the top. Who covers her? Elise Chabet. Unbelievable. Just the whole run in is just gorgeous. Beautiful race course. They're going in and out of the trees and little houses, and there's people everywhere. It's just like so great. Franzi Cox starts attacking. Cassia's covering. And the whole time I'm thinking, my girl ELB is playing this perfectly. Now she's chilling. She was not attacking during this little like section between like 5 and 2Ks to go. She's not really attacking. But the makeup of this group is just so great. You got 4 champions jerseys, you got 4 teams jerseys, so much drama. It becomes apparent that at the bottom of the climb, Trinka Colonel and Voss, they're the first ones that are like,
they're done.
I'm done. I'm not doing it. So yeah, go
for
ahead.
Voss, it's just too much of a climb. It's for give her credit for her age. She's not keeping up with those 20-year-old she you know what I mean? Like she just doesn't have it in the tank anymore to be able to tackle that hard of a climb against that good a competition.
Right.
I mean, she's definitely top 10 at that point. She knows it, and all she has to do is just get to the finish. But she's not winning that race.
It's a big ask. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish up with the finale in the women's race, and we will also take a ride in the Broom Wagon. Stay with us.
Don't miss Beyond the Slipstream, our weekly companion podcast to the Team Bus, our domestique, if you will, dropping every Saturday in your usual podcast feed.
All right, we're back, and when we left off, we were entering the bottom of the climb at the Via Caterina, and as the road went uphill, Mariana Voss and Monica Trinka Colonel were falling off the back. We never had much hope for either of them, but we had a real strong group heading into the climb. We've already spoken on our men's segment about just how iconic this area is. It's just such an amazing theater for our sport. And it is anybody's ball game as they are headed up this climb. I mean, you've got Eliza Longo Borghini kind of leading things out. You've got Cassia Newadoma right behind her. And then also in the mix, you've got Puck Petersa, you've got Magdalena Valieres, you've got Koch, and you've got Elise Chabet staying wily, hanging back in like 4th wheel, 5th wheel, but right there where she needs to be. And it doesn't get more exciting as this, because as we discussed, you get to the top of the climb, it levels out for a little bit, and then it kind of starts going downhill, and you got to go through a series of chicanes. And at the most important one, which is the very last chicane, right-hand turn into the finish. No, in the second to last one, I should say. Second to last one, you had 3 riders, and this is where the team tactics came into it so perfectly. Koch comes up and wedges herself in next to Cassia and ELB and tightens the 3 of them up. And that enables Chabet to take a much better line through that turn. And when she comes out of that turn, she's going way faster than them and blows right past them. And once you're out in front,
it's over.
Once you're past that turn and you're in front, nobody's catching this race. It doesn't happen.
She played it so well. All right, like the 2 of them, and it ends up paying off even more because she's been riding the 3rd wheel. All right, Koch's been riding the 3rd wheel, and Chabet makes the move to get out front, and then Koch's able to get herself before the end around ELB and takes third.
Yes, don't remind me. I don't even get any points. My hot favorite at the bottom of the climb comes away with 0 points, no podium position. Quite disappointing, but what an incredible race. And you got to give it up to Elise Chabet. Did you catch the little bit they did on her afterwards that she's like a doctor? She was like administering to patients during COVID. This woman is also like a multidisciplinary athlete. I mean, she's an absolute badass and beloved in the peloton.
She's a former Olympian. Okay, in a different sport that's not the sport that
like
she's
kayaking or something.
Yeah. It's like they call it something else, but yes, it's basically kayaking. And then during COVID, all right, she is also a medical doctor. And during COVID, she took a sabbatical from racing to help in medicine.
Incredible.
And she's Swiss, obviously.
A worthy winner, first Swiss woman to ever win,
Yes.
first Swiss person, I believe, to ever win Strade Bianchi.
And she's a fan favorite racer. Like, she is in the mix a lot. She is, she doesn't have a ton of wins. I think that they said that she only has 5 wins under her belt at this point. Despite
great team rider.
Yeah, despite the fact that she's like in the mix with a lot of races a lot of times.
Hey, it's an interesting pickup. That was a risky pickup that you had this year, grabbing her, and it's already paying off.
Well, I didn't expect it to pay off like this. Like, this was a pretty crazy one, but she went. She garnered points. When I was looking at the top riders, the top point gatherers last year. I mean, she was one of those ones that was on the bottom end of that top 20, men's and women's racers that was gathering world tour points. And those are the ones that we need to win. So when it was, when I was looking at it, that was what I was, in my head, I'm going, she grabs points. She, it might not be the big points, but in this case, it ended up being the big points.
Yep, she won the big one. Definitely the biggest win of her career. It was an incredible race. Now, I mentioned earlier about another rider's post-race interview, and that was Demi Vollering. I thought that she has shown her disappointment in certain situations in the past. I think this time she took it in stride. I think it helped a lot that her teammate won, because you could tell she was exhilarated and happy for her teammate.
She busted into Chabet's interview to give her the hug.
Yeah, she busted into the interview, and she was like, "Enjoy it," She said, "Enjoy this moment," So, but she said that when she got hurt, because she had a mechanical just before the craziness ensued with them going down the wrong road, and she said she got some kind of rock stuck someplace. It was a mechanical issue that she'd never seen before. She was like, "I couldn't do anything with it because I've never seen this happen." So I'd be curious to dig in a little bit more as to what happened. But I thought that was it was interesting that she said that. But she was just kind of like, we just went down the wrong road and it was race over. Weird. Like, I can't believe this happened. But I guess for her personally, the consolation prize is that her teammate gets a win. And now she can count on Chabet even more when the push comes to shove in the Grand Tour season. So,
yeah, 100%.
An awesome race, a great way to kick off, monument season. Got Strade Bianchi in 2 weeks. We got Paris-Nice and Tirreno. I mean, not MSR. Yeah, Strade Bianchi. MSR. Thank you. MSR in 2 weeks. The 2 Italian races, and we got Paris-Nice and Tirreno this week. It's going to be a good couple of weeks, and I'm excited. Anything else on women's MSR?
No, just that good Lord, it was such a great race and such a great finish, and
goosebumps, yeah, man. The whole finish of that race gives me goosebumps.
Just so good. So,
all right, well, we'll leave it there. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're taking a ride on the gravel in the Broom Wagon. Stay with us. So we're right at the end of the show. At the end, we always get to do a little extra thing from each of us, cycling related, but it doesn't have to be related to the rest of the thing. So who writes this? Well, this is like a shared Google Doc with my notes and his notes. So like up at the top, it says this is the episode. It says who the host of the particular one is.
You're writing all the cycling commentary.
Well, no, I wrote the intros and outros, but these are just my notes that I'm reading from right here. These are just my notes that I
So how
took.
do you watch the race? You're watching the race online.
Yeah, I watch it right here and take notes. Occasionally, if I'm watching on TV, I can take notes on my phone. But all right, we got to keep rolling because we're running out of time. We're on the clock here.
All right.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
We are back, and it's Broom Wagon time. Justin, what have you got for us?
So I came across this super cool thing with the EF did, where they gave a full tour of their race, of their service course.
I watched it.
Did you watch the video?
Yes.
Oh, dude, it is, to me, as somebody that doesn't know a ton of the technical stuff about cycling, it was really, really cool to get an inside look. And for anybody that's curious about like the day to day, how they, build a bike for a rider, how they test it, how they size it, what it looks like when they're storing all, how they organize all of this, tech that they have to organize for, 20 riders. This is your video. This will show you how it works in a very behind the scenes type of way, with their service course. And it is just, I literally was like just enthralled by the whole video because you got to see all this stuff that I wasn't, I was like aware that it's there, but I was unaware of how, how it all works and how it all fits together and how they, size a seat post and, which handlebars they choose, and it's all so technical, but this is just a really, really cool way to see that behind the scenes.
I absolutely loved it. Yeah, the inner workings of a pro cycling team. Some of the details I liked. First of all, I loved how the main interview was with Dwight Schrute's cousin in his overalls there. That guy was just it's very stoic dude, a real Mose type character.
Yes.
I liked how they also showed like the offices and stuff upstairs, but like the quantity of gear that is at this place, it's like 5 bike shops worth of like incredible equipment. And the one detail that I loved, this is always something I kind of wondered, and boy, my God, like to be a pro cyclist, like if you were a guy that just like gets paid to ride bikes, every single rider on that team has 8 bikes. Did you catch that? Mm-hmm. They each have 4 backup road bikes. They have 2 backup TT bikes, and then they have 1 road and 1 TT bike with them at their home, wherever they are.
Yes.
So every rider on the team's got 8 bikes that they're looking after. And there's like 30 riders on the teams. You know what I mean? Do the math.
Oh, yeah.
That's literally hundreds of bikes that these guys are maintaining. And the way they show how they use like the video graphics to take readings on the geometrics for their body and help them pick the right, parts and get them all set in. It's like, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's really wild, the level of technology that these teams are using.
Yeah, it's like I said, if you've ever wondered how that stuff works, this is the absolute video for you, 100%.
Yeah, I think we watched a pretty good one for Visma Lisa bike, which has like a legendary service course over in Belgium someplace.
But it was more like just a tour. This really
or Amsterdam, I should say.
This really got into like how certain things work and how they come up with. Yeah, it was definitely more on the technical side of. It wasn't just a
overview, like a quick look.
Tour.
Yeah, it was more in depth.
Yeah.
No, definitely check it out. We'll link to it in the show. Really, really cool video. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I mentioned when we were talking about the men's race, the high five that Tadej Pogačar gave to a dude off to the side of the road, and you kind of halfway spoiled my broom wagon here because as pointed out earlier, he gave a high five to a spectator at the bottom of the Santa Catarina climb just before the barrier section began. as I was watching, was wondering who this man was, and so I did some digging. As it turns out, this high five is now a 4-time tradition with Poggy, going back to his first win in 2022, followed by 2024, 2025, and now 2026. Who is this man that Pog so effortlessly picks out of the crowd each year? Why, he's none other than Miha Konsilija, Pog's very first coach from way back when he started racing bikes as a kid. He's a former pro cyclist of basically no renown, but his Instagram paints a portrait of a fit and happy family man with one very big superstar of a friend. I will include a link to the said Instagram video that we were talking about in the show notes, and you can see him giving each high five up to this year. Not this year's is not in there, but you see each year's up to this year's. In the description of that video, it says a world champion who never forgets his roots. I like that. Tadej, you really make these races boring, but I salute you nonetheless. Oh, and thanks for the 30 points.
Okay, here's the thing. Someone needs to make sure that guy doesn't go to Strade next year. Like,
I noticed in at least 2 of the videos he's holding a flag, so there's definitely something that has been worked out in advance so that Poggy can pick him out pretty well. But I mean, every single time he's high-fived that guy, and I think that is like the coolest thing ever.
Yes.
So that's going to do it for this week. Please join us next week for full coverage of 2 of the biggest stage races of the year, the men's Paris-Nice and Tirreno Adriatico, as well as a big sprinters classic for the women, the Trofeo Alfredo Binda. Until then, for my brother Justin, I'm Matt Harper. Thanks for listening. We hope you'll join us again soon for another ride on the Team Bus. Ale!
The Team Bus is a production of Harperama. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe, smash that button, leave a 5-star review, and most importantly, tell all your friends about us. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Ale!